You want it? We have it. The hottest mortgage and real estate strategy broadcast in the nation. A Smarter Way Home with your host, Danielle Boote and Victor Bals. 50 years combined experience, ranked in the top 1% in the nation for home loan originations 2020. Promise to expand your knowledge, utilizing creative mortgage financing and home buying strategies. Build a bridge for a better quality of life. Get your brain cells firing for a smarter way home. And welcome, everybody, to another episode of A Smarter Way Home. We've got modern mortgage solutions and home buying strategies for real estate professionals and consumers alike. I am your host, Victor Bals, licensed loan officer, about 22 years, and I want to welcome my co-hostess with the mostest, my business partner, Mrs. Danielle Boote. How are you, Danielle?
I'm doing fabulous. Still in Florida.
Still in Florida. Last podcast you were in Florida.
I know. I'll be home next week, Saturday.
Okay.
But I am soaking up the sunshine while I can.
Well, you sure are, because here in Detroit now, we're expecting snowstorms tonight, and then it's going to go up to 58 degrees tomorrow. So come on back as soon as you can. All right? So anyway, today we got a kind of a little special show here. And Danielle, why don't you introduce our guest here?
Yes, I would. It is my great pleasure to introduce our friend Laura Toms to the show today. She is with Century 21 affiliated in Howell and brings a very long history of real estate to our community, and is also a very active member of our Livingston County Association of Realtors. Particularly, I believe she chairs the education committee. Is that right, Laura? Am I getting all that right? I have no notes there. I'm going completely off memory.
I do chair the education committee. Yeah.
Yes. So Laura is a great resource to our community, particularly for all of our realtor friends, because she really brings a higher level of education to our agents, including, being involved in the Education Expo, which is a big Con Ed event. And she's always at the forefront of our community when she hears of something going on that she needs to make sure the agents are aware of, so they stay abreast of the ever-changing real estate market.
Welcome aboard, Laura.
Thanks. Thank you.
And Laura, so first of all, this was supposed to be an in-person interview. You were supposed to come in. Danielle's in Florida.
Supposed to be in person.
Yeah, but you flew in from Vegas last night.
Right.
And then we said, okay, well, can I just go home and we'll just send you a link to go in? So we sent her that link, and it must have took a half hour for all the technological stuff. So since you are the chair or on the education committee, you are our new technological educator as well when it comes to this stuff.
Look at me go.
So anyway, Laura, you and I have known each other for about 22 years. You're at Century 21.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
What brought you into the real estate market, the industry? Take us back. Where did Laura come from?
To the beginning?
Yeah, let's kind of take it back. Let's understand where you came from.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. So I started out actually going to school to be an X-ray tech, and just decided that wasn't really for me. I just decided that wasn't for me, and I started thinking, what would I like to do when I grow up? What do I want to be? And now by that time, then I had 3 little kids, so I thought, I'm going to give real estate a try. So in 1985, which was a minute ago, I took the classes through the Century 21 Real Estate School. And I finished my classes in December of 85, and I sat for my test in January of 86. And then about 3 months later, because we didn't have the computers then, I got a little tear off in the mail that said I had a license. So that's how I started it. And
so what is it? It's been 36, 37 years now as a licensed realtor?
Yeah, 36.
You must have seen a lot in that
I've
time.
seen a lot. I saw it before we had all of the MLS that we have now. I remember we used to have our general membership meetings at the Holiday Inn, and everybody was just screaming mad. I mean, literally screaming mad in this meeting that we were, going to share our listings with people in Oakland County.
Oh my God.
Why would we do that? Why would we open our borders? It was just, so yeah, it was a long time ago. There's been a lot of change since then. We used to have our little yellow books that came out once we became the MLS with the other areas. And so, yeah, it's changed a lot.
Wait a minute, you spoke yellow. Didn't Century 21 used to wear yellow jackets?
Yes. And actually, so that's what I was going to say. Having 3 little kids, when I got my license, I actually had a, let's see, I think she was 4 months old, my youngest daughter. And so it was a little difficult to work, back then with those 3 little kids. And so, you need to figure out how you're going to prospect for clients and customers and that sort of thing. And so we used to wear this horrible color, mustard gold jackets. And that was the Century 21 sign or color on all the signs and everything. And so what I used to do, I would put a bunch of business cards in my pocket, and I would go to the grocery store anytime I was going shopping, and everybody always recognized that color. And so I had my name badge on and a pocket full of cards, and people would say, "Oh, are you a Century 21?" And yes, I am. And I hand out my card, and that's how I started. That was how I did it. And then as the kids got older, my work grew. So then I was, like the preschool president. I went to a co-op preschool, or my kids went to a co-op preschool. So again, my cards, I was always handing out my cards, and then, PTO, and that's how I did my farming for clients and customers and built those relationships.
Now, how long have you been in Livingston County, Laura?
The entire time.
Okay. But did you grow up out here too?
I moved to Howell when I was 8 years old, and we moved from Royal Oak. I had, prior to being 8 though, prior to 5, I lived in, Michigan, Missouri, Washington, and then back to Michigan, and then the farm, which is where I grew up on, was a farm in Howell, 187 acre farm. And so I grew up baling hay every summer, milking cows every morning before I went to school.
Yeah. And now you just put out fires, right?
Right. Now I put out fires. Yeah, I used to ride, I had horses. I showed my horse in 4-H and all of that. I used to actually be able to ride my horse into downtown Howell.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
you've always been at Century 21. You've never left them.
I've never left. So Century 21 Brightontown was where I started. John Kipley, he was, an icon back in the day with, a lot of really great realtors there. And we had an office in Brighton and one in Howell. And that's where I started. And so then I think it was 6 or 7 years ago now, all of the brokers and owners of Century 21 Brightontown were, retiring or passing away, whatever. And we merged with Century 21 Affiliated, which is where I still am. And Century 21 Affiliated is a huge corporation of, I think we have 110 offices now we're in 5 states, and I'm not sure how many agents, probably 1,400 agents, maybe a little bit more. And actually I was just at this convention in Vegas We are the #1 Century 21 franchise in the world.
Wow.
In
Congratulations.
the world.
That's
It
exciting.
was,
I didn't realize you were in multiple states.
yes. So we're in Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Florida, and I think we actually have an office in Minnesota. So we might be in 6 states.
So now, are you always recruiting for new agents? How do you?
Always. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
always
And,
recruiting for new agents. I'm a co-team leader in our office. I don't know if you guys know that, but I really want good people surrounding me, though. Good in not only their volume of business that they do, but also personality and ethics and that sort of thing. It's really, really big for me personally. So,
okay. Oh,
yeah.
I'm a little concerned because right now, we're experiencing a very extreme seller's market at this point, and I believe we have approximately 800 licensed agents in Livingston County. I am a little concerned because of the lack of inventory that we may be losing some of these agents. What do you feel about that? And is there any words that you can have for these newer agents? Would gravitating towards a Century 21, do you have tools to help them if you were going to do that?
I will tell you, Century 21 has the best tools from a corporate standpoint, and that is what I mean by that is the Century 21 name. We have amazing tools. We have Century 21 University, which is self-paced classes. You can take them anytime you want. We have really, people should check out century21.com. It's really amazing. But beyond that, we have along with the Century 21 University, we have toolkit CMAs. We have all different marketing, any kind of marketing you would want. If you want to market yourself, if you want to market a property, if you want to market a commercial property, vacant land, whatever it is you want, whatever you can think of in real estate, Century 21 offers that. They offer the tools to help you. But then, we also have the Century 21 websites, which are huge. You can't operate in a real estate these days without having websites and all of those tools that you need. So Century 21 affiliated provides individual websites for every agent. We have an IT department to help you with whatever you need. Say you want to go buy a new computer and you don't know what kind of a computer to buy. You can email the marketing or the IT department and say, hey, what's the best computer for me to get? Or I need a new iPhone or whatever it is. We have those people there to help. We also have an education department, which will do individual classes with people one-on-one. You can do on the phone. You can do last week, for instance, the day before I left for Vegas, I wanted to figure out how to do something on social media. I had an idea, and which I haven't got up and running yet, so I'm not going to tell what it is. But I contacted the marketing department. I sent them a message and said, can you help me do this? They said, absolutely. Can you meet me at 11 o'clock on Teams? We use Google Teams or Microsoft Teams, I think that's called. Anyway, so I met with her and she gave me all the instructions, set me up so I know how to do it. Now, if I wasn't tech savvy enough, they will do it for me. And it doesn't cost me anything. It's just a part of the tools package that we have. Also, we have Canva templates. All we have to do is, hey, we want to do this, and they'll put it together for you.
What's a Canva ticket? What is that?
Canva is it's a social media. It's a way of putting flyers together or social media ads that sort of thing. There's tons of templates and, logos and all sorts of things for that.
Wow.
So,
You spoke there, you spoke the word education in that. So
mhm.
let's kind of segue a bit into,
Sure.
you chair the education committee.
I
What
chair
does
the
that mean
education
to the consumers
committee.
and other agents?
Well, for one, for me personally, what it means for consumers is that when you work with an agent that takes the time to educate themselves and in turn educate their consumers, which I've always been really big on the education portion of my clients, because they don't buy houses every day. And, but we do sell houses every day. So it's, I feel, our job to help them understand the process and educate them with good mortgage partners, of course. I find that team is super critically important. So just being able for the consumers to ask the questions of any of those people. But then beyond that, chairing the education committee, I want to make sure that the agents in our county or whoever, we open our classes up to any agent that wants to join the classes. I just feel like that helps the agents be better for the consumer. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
right.
But in that role, are you also helping to develop the classes of what content and what is important to a newer agent, or is this experienced agents? Please explain. Take me down that rabbit hole.
So our committee is, we have about 10, I think there's about 10 people on the committee. And we choose together what classes we bring to our members. So we try to do things that are timely. Sometimes we'll put together a class that's pretty quick. Say there's a new something going on, and I can't think of anything right this minute, but say something happens in the marketplace that is changing. We like to be on the forefront of that, and we have several affiliates that have schools and that offer classes and things. So they're able to, through that, put together educational opportunities that are timely. We don't need to have classes on, how to search in a yellow book, for instance, for your listings.
Well, except for me, at least old people, I still like to read print material.
Right. So we do things that are of a timely fashion. And we do everything from, social media to legal, riparian rights, prospecting for listings, all of those sorts of things.
Well, I think it's important for anybody listening. I mean, if you're a realtor, you obviously know what the education requirement is through the state of Michigan to get a license. But for, I think, most consumers out there, they don't understand that to be a realtor, what is the class right now? Is it 40 hours or 80?
40 hours. It's nothing.
It's a 40-hour class, which basically teaches you the laws required for a realtor to follow. But it doesn't teach you anything about real estate. It doesn't teach you anything about listing a home properly, how to market a home, how to help a buyer. Those are in mortgages are the same way, where our class is very basic and doesn't really teach you anything about the industry. So that's why it's so important for consumers to understand that a realtor's continuing education is very important. And it's always changing. If you remember, it's been 2 years, Laura, since we came out with our forbearance class.
Right. I remember that.
We taught that to several hundred realtors. And in our entire careers, we had never had this kind of a situation to even discuss before. But it was important for realtors, partners, to understand where consumers were going to be with a nationwide
Right.
mortgage forbearance and what that meant to them in potentially selling a home, getting another mortgage, and all of the intricate things that went along with it. So it's constantly changing. You know, what we did 6 months ago or a year ago is not where we are today in the market. And that's what's so important to keep in mind.
You know, it's funny you brought that up, Danielle, because as we were teaching that forbearance class to many agents, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and our government was making it up as they went along because they never seen this coming either. So it was just about us bringing that news to the forefront to educate the agents. And the agents brought up some great questions because we say, I don't know. I'll get back with you on that one. I never seen that one coming. You know, so that was very interesting.
And that was, I remember when we did that, how many people were on that?
About 300, I think, on the one.
Yeah, it was an amazing class. We were all learning as we were going on that.
Well, and how we used Zoom. I mean, we've had this technology for years. Nobody's ever used it. And here we are, and the three of us are in 3 different locations, recording a podcast
and with 2 years with Zoom, we still can't figure out how to get us all on one screen.
Yeah.
You guys are forerunners for sure.
And the young people come and go, really? You guys can't.
All you got to do is push this button.
Yeah, unbelievable. Hey, let's kind of move over to also, you play a role in Real Comp, right?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is Real Comp and what role would you play and how does this affect the agents and the consumer?
So again, Real Comp is the MLS, and it is the MLS is a bucket of data that is to be used by the realtors, the tool to help them, figure out what types of prices the appraisers use the realtors' data in the MLS to appraise the properties. And then through IDX feeds, that information is disseminated out to different, thousands of websites, but more importantly,
such as like Realtor.com, Zillow, they all draw from this MLS system.
Correct. Yep. So that's how, so when Zillow gets it, that information has already come through the MLS. So the MLS disseminates all of that information to all of those websites. And
So the MLS is basically the mothership of the data, and all that data is syndicated to several other outlets so the consumer can draw on that information on their, site of choice for looking at homes.
Correct. That's absolutely correct. Yep. And as I'm a governor for Real Comp, and that is a position. There's so our Real Comp, our local MLS is made up of 8 shareholders. Those shareholders are different areas: Oakland County, North Oakland, Grosse Pointe, Eastern Thumb area, Livingston County. I probably forgot one. Dearborn. Anyway, so we have 2 governors from each system, from each area, that act as on behalf of our local area, and then together the 16 of us collectively decide and help bring the tools. We implement NAR rules. We also
give me an example of a NAR rule. What would that mean or entail?
Well, most recently, just what sort of information needs to be in the MLS, what needs to be shared, because that's the National Association of Realtors. So we get a lot of our directives from them. So whatever.
I have a question, I guess, in talking about market conditions. One of the big changes we have seen with the dissemination of listings is coming soon properties. What's your commentary on that and how the local Realcon and, like, for instance, NAR has looked at that? Because I've heard different things over even the past year.
Yep. So NAR was the one that set down the rules basically regarding that. They set down something here, and then we had to figure out how we would work within those rules. So,
Okay, so what does what was all the controversy over a coming soon?
what happened? What happened with the coming soon is NAR is all about ethics and fair real estate practices. So people were, maybe not putting homes on the market, sandbagging so they could take both sides of it, if you will. And so,
wait, I don't understand that. How break that down a little bit? Sandbagging. What would that mean?
I think that's a bowling term, isn't it? Where you hold back on your score.
Hey, I'll use it on this, but I kind of see where you're going. Okay, so let's. Are you saying for an agent, if I know a person,
an unfair advantage for an agent? Yes.
Okay, and how would that work? So let's pretend I'm an agent and I know my neighbor's going to sell his home. How would this play into that about coming soons?
So what they could do beforehand is, maybe put up a sign, do all of their advertising, and get a buyer, and then sell the house themselves.
Oh, before it even goes on the before it goes on the MLS.
Correct. Yep. Rather than opening it up for fair play.
Okay.
For everybody. But by the same token, doing that could also be a disadvantage for a seller, because maybe there's 100 buyers out there that might, as we're seeing now, want to put bids on this home and get that price higher and higher, which is better for the seller, of course. Maybe not so great for the buyers, but it is what it is right now.
Because what we're seeing, and at least this is what I'm seeing, I believe I'm seeing in our county, is we always see the coming soons on Thursdays, going live on Friday, and highest and best by Sunday, 8 p.m. Is that kind of the standard practice now, or what's the way it should be, Laura?
That sort of is the way it is right now. And I don't know how else it could be right now. It would be nice if people didn't have to be, working 12 hours every Sunday trying to put together these offers to get in. It's a lot of scrambling realtors work 7 days a week, as do you guys, but it's super stressful. It's super stressful. I don't know what the answer is to that. I don't think there's any way to change that other than, make the offers due on Monday at 5.
Yeah. Well, why can't they go?
So people might be able to enjoy a day with their families.
Right. So why couldn't you have the listing go live on Monday? I mean, is it because everybody's working and they only can see homes on weekends?
That's it exactly. People are working and can't see the homes a lot of times until the weekend. So, and if it's put on the market, say on Tuesday, showings beginning Thursday, people can start scheduling showings, and it gives you an idea of what kind of activity you're going to get. It allows people an opportunity to get in there and look at the house.
I have another question. I've actually had this debate with several agents, and the agents actually brought it up and said, hey, if you have highest and best due by Sunday, 8 o'clock, why do they extend that till now? We're going to take offers till Tuesday or Wednesday. If someone has an offer and it's due by X, should we abide by that, or are we allowed to change the rules?
Well, there are no real rules because these things happen. Now, of course, the selling agent, the listing agent is going to be guiding their client. So who is the seller? So a lot of it depends on what that seller wants to do, because at the end of the day, the seller is that
Boss.
listing agent's client. Exactly. Yeah.
Understood.
So, maybe the seller says, you know what, I don't want to deal with anything until Tuesday. So maybe the agent puts an arbitrary date out there of Sunday, but then the seller says, no, wait a minute, I don't want to do that until Tuesday. So perhaps that's where some of that comes from. Some of it could be other things, like maybe they only had one offer and they wanted to try to get more.
Okay.
Who knows?
So that's all open, and that is absolutely ethical.
Yeah.
Just because you're taking care of your seller.
Well, I just feel like we should be open and honest with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Don't lie. Don't lie, and think about the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And if everybody would abide by that, I think some of the practices would be a little nicer to live with.
Absolutely. So where do you see, because Laura, you've been through buyers markets, sellers markets, neutral markets, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
What we are experiencing now is an extreme sellers market. What are you seeing here over the next 6 months, or how do people get accepted offers? What are you training your agents on what to do to get listings, what to do to get offers accepted?
So, there's a lot of tactics that you can use. There's a lot of things that are maybe not, I think they're not accepted by mortgage companies that people have tried to do. I've heard Netflix subscriptions, which
Yes.
I don't think that that's allowed by the mortgage companies. Am I right?
Well, the buyer can pay for whatever he wants,
Right, but the buyer can do that over and above. So some of the things that people are doing are waiving appraisals. They're bringing in, they're doing appraisal guarantees, which is where, if a home doesn't appraise, the buyer will make up the difference. They're doing occupancy to the seller after closing because maybe the seller doesn't have a place to go and needs to buy a house, and they need to close on that house before they can even get an offer accepted. So maybe an extended occupancy period after closing, a lot of times free of charge.
Up to 60 days from a lending perspective.
60 days, exactly. Because they have to take ownership or occupancy of the house within 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Else it's considered buying an investment property,
correct.
Basically. It's almost treated like a rental.
Yeah. Helping seller with moving costs is something that I personally.
So buyers are paying the seller's moving cost?
Yep.
And appraisal guarantees, the Netflix subscriptions.
Yeah.
Anything to get a
storage units.
Wow.
All sorts of things. Yeah, if you'll sell me your house and leave, I'll pay for your storage unit for a couple of months.
Wow. Is this kicking a lot of our home buyers that have little or less, or just less money down or less assets? Is it kicking them to the curb on these offers?
I don't think so. Not necessarily. I think that, if you can come in strong. I had one that I closed, I guess 2 months ago now, that was a rural development, 0 down loan. And if I remember correctly, I think we even got a credit on it.
Oh, some seller concessions?
So those things, though rare, do still happen. I'm not saying that that's going to happen on everything.
Well, some agent was telling me that like 52% of the homes are something go high over highest and best and all that stuff, or they go as a non-contingent offer, right? They're looking for non-contingent offers. Would that mean that 48% of them still are taking contingent offers of selling something?
No, I haven't had any go through that are contingent on selling. And I'm not sure if this is the appropriate time to bring this up, but we have a lot of numbers out there that are saying, oh, the housing numbers are down. There's selling fewer and fewer houses and all of that. The reason we're selling fewer houses is because there's fewer houses on the market. So that's why those numbers are down. So I don't know if you've seen any of the national headlines that are saying this. It's
Fake
really
news.
a play on, that is a negative play on something that's not actually happening right now.
What other numbers do you have? Please give us some of these numbers here.
I apologize. I don't have any real numbers for you.
We'll take the Cliff Note version.
Cliff Note version. So the numbers, the houses are staying on the market for, I think the average time is, it's less than 3 weeks. I know that we have a less than 1 month inventory available in Livingston County. I did see a statistic last week that I have not verified, but I'll go ahead and share it, that because it did come from a trusted source. There are under 1 million homes for sale in the United States.
Under 1 million.
Under 1 million. And that's nothing. In
Livingston County, I think the LCAR numbers for February stated that listings were selling for 104% of the list price. So on average, homes were selling for at least 4% more than they were listed for.
That sounds like a very accurate number.
Oh.
So trying to shake loose some of those listings, of course, are people maybe relocating to another state. It's hard for agents to find listings right now, and we've got, as near as I can tell, I'm about half and half with buyers and sellers. So I list as many as I sell with buyers. So it seems to me that most of the offers that I've been writing on homes, it seems like the average is somewhere around 10 to 20 offers from what I'm being told. My personal listing inventory right now is really low. So, I would say from my listing that I just sold, we had 5 offers. So
what do you think the next 30 days brings, Laura? What are you seeing as an agent that focus on listings? Are you hearing from sellers that want to sell and are concerned about where to go?
That is one of the biggest things. And I've had so many people, saying just that they would like to sell, but there's no place to go. There are some things people can do. They
move
could
back with mom,
Yeah, exactly. Move in with a relative, maybe do an extended stay, which can be pricey, but an extended stay hotel. Summer's coming. Bishop Lake is nearby. Go camping for a couple of months.
You can only camp for 2 weeks at a state park, and then you have to leave for a day, and then you can come back for 2 more.
Oh. Well, you can go home and take a shower. Oh no, you don't have nowhere to go.
You could, people can put their home on the market subject to, finding the home of their choice. There's a lot of different ways to accomplish that. At the end of the day, though, it appears that the market is going to remain tight for a little while, even with the interest rates going up. And you guys can speak to that better than I can, but I listened to some economists recently, and they're not necessarily predicting any, real downturns to the market right now because of interest rates.
Well, we had heard
saying that
even
it's still going to stay strong.
Yeah, I mean, rates are just returning to normal. And will it
Right.
impact people that were pre-approved a year ago in the 3s and now we're in the 4s? Absolutely. But this is kind of normal. I mean, the average interest rate in the last 50 years is about 8 to 8.5% for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. Do you remember where rates were when you got in the market? I mean, let's be realistic with that.
Yeah. 14%.
Yeah.
10.5 here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we look at that as a whole, back then we also made money on our money in the bank, right? We had interest rates on our savings accounts, which we haven't really had in, over 10, 15 years.
10, 15 years,
So it's great to say the rates are low, but realistically, people still need a place to live. And I had even heard a couple years ago that if interest rates hit 5.5%, it would still be affordable for most people. Now, I'm aware that yes, it could take out some of the first-time home buyers, but for the most part, it's not going to slow down things dramatically in the market if you're a seller, because maybe there'll be 5 offers on your house instead of 10. But do we need 10 offers on a listing to sell it? No, you need 1 good offer or 2 strong offers, and then you might play for a little bit higher price on the property. But from a seller's perspective, it's still going to remain very strong.
Right.
Let's talk about that home affordability. Your rates are high 4s, nearing 5%. I bought my first home out here in Livingston County, Hickory Hills subdivision, $138,000, and back then the median income in Livingston County was $56,000.
Wow.
So I ran the numbers, and my payment at that point was using up 24% of the median income of the county. That same house today in Hickory Hills is near $300,000, and rates are at 4.75 to 5%, still only takes up about 21 to 22% of the county median income, meaning that even with rates going up, home affordability is still better than it was in 1998.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, and my parents always said, I think for forever, I'm not buying now. It's too high. Prices are too high. And that went on when I was 10 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old. It's too high. It's too high. They just keep going up. Yeah. But home affordability is there still.
Well, I read an article this morning on the inflationary pressures, right? We know that gas has gone up, food prices are through the roof, certainly going to affect a lot of consumers. But if you look at when gas was last at $4.25 a gallon, okay, which would have been what?
2009.
2009, 2008, somewhere around there. Well, actually a little bit earlier, like 2006. I think we hit gas that was about $4.50. I remember because I drove a Ford Excursion with a big V10 engine.
And I drove an Expedition with a Triton V8.
Yeah.
I drove my bicycle.
It was expensive, but when you look at that in today's dollars, our incomes are higher today than they were back in 2006. So the affordability index on the gas is actually more affordable than it was 15 years ago. Now, again, not to say that is not going to hurt consumers that are in the lower income threshold, retired people on fixed incomes. It's certainly going to impact a great deal of our population, but you got to look at the affordability index overall and going, our incomes have been climbing the last 3 to 5 years, so some of this, is unfortunately the nature of the beast. Regardless of what's going on in Russia and the Ukraine, gas prices have been going up for over a year now.
Well, and all those facets play to one's emotions.
Yes.
I'm not buying because of the war. I'm not buying because of the rates. I'm not buying because of inflation. I'm not buying because the prices are too high. They're going to weight themselves into the poorhouse.
Right.
Because home affordability is still there.
It is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stiff competition for sure, but
you can't hit them if we don't swing, right?
Exactly. People just have to pack their patience and unfortunately, we just have to keep writing those offers for our buyers and educating our buyers and trying to keep them from, losing it mentally and emotionally.
Mhm.
It is
Yeah.
very, very, very emotional for people.
Oh, it's draining on us lenders and you
Yeah.
agents. It's it's funny because you almost have to play psychologist to your sellers and your buyers, and
We've,
talk them off the
we've
ledge.
we've always had to do that. As well, only because as realtors, we're dealing with, a person's largest purchase they're ever going to make if they're a buyer. And as a seller, if there's a myriad of reasons that people sell homes, that can create emotions from, elated joy to, just so incredibly sad because, maybe somebody's just had triplets, so they need a larger home, so they have to sell. But, the reverse side of that is maybe, a spouse has passed away and the home is more than somebody could handle. So, we deal with everything in between and, it's all of their emotions and all of their money and their memories and, where their kids took their first steps and all those things. So we've always had to be psychologists and be empathetic and when people, sellers or buyers are losing it, literally, there's so many emotions at play. And if we play into that ourselves, it can create such a bad transaction. But if you take a breath and keep it calm and don't get excited.
Laura, your demeanor is so calming. Okay.
Um,
And when you're talking to these buyers that you've put in, they've offered on 6, 7, 8 houses and they've lost out. How do you keep that together? And what wisdom do you offer them to say, don't throw in the towel? How do you do that?
It's really knowing your client and how they are and knowing how you need to communicate with them. I always try to remain calm myself. I'm always looking at the market, the other homes, other areas, other options, so that I have some answers for people or try to have some answers. I try to have, different options that, again, it's all individual. So whatever works within their bucket of stuff that they need to work within. So it's tough, but you need to know your client and your market, and you need to be calm. And I just want to tell you, it's so funny that you said that about my calming demeanor. There was an agent who was a longtime agent in Livingston County. She's not here anymore. She's retired in California, Connie Keller. And she used to say to me, I just want you to call me every day and tell me everything's going to be okay. That's so funny.
Well, can we get on that list, Laura?
Yeah.
Can you call us every day?
Yeah.
We'll just check
I need you to
in.
call me 5 a.m. every morning, Laura.
Oh, 5? No, Victor, that's too early.
But at the end of the day, it will be okay. It will be okay. The universe always works it out. And a lot of times things, this isn't what I want. This is not what I want. I want this. And when the universe sorts it all out and things work out the way it's supposed to, it always seems like it's for the better. I've had more people say to me, gosh, you were right, that, this is the much better situation. That would have been terrible.
I tell my wife that all the time. You were right. So I have to.
You're a smart man.
Maya's always right.
Yes, Maya's always right. Yeah. So, but it's funny because I get calls from agents. We're out there finding them houses, or we're trying to find the borrowers or buyers some houses there, and the agents call me in a panic, going, oh my God, Vic, I think my client's going to fire me. And I go, well, what do you mean they're going to fire? Well, I can't find them on the house and their emotions are going and I think they're going to fire me. Then that they think some other agent can find them a house. Any words of wisdom to that type of agent?
You know what? Sometimes it happens. I mean, all you can do is all you can do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, in this, and I know that's probably not the answer people want to hear, but
Right.
sometimes you can't, sometimes you work, and as much as you try, I am 100% of the time, 150% of the time, I am working for my client's best interest.
Absolutely.
Whatever my client needs, that's what I'm going to try to accomplish for them, speaking for myself.
It's funny, Laura, it's kind of funny because Danielle and I, we work with buyers all the time and we'll work with them for months and then they end up going to another lender, but like you say, it's the universe. It is what it is. But our job is to educate, you got to give to get. And because you can never win them all. But as long as we can keep our head up, our chin up and say we did the best for our clients, like you said, it seems to work itself out.
It really does. And for new agents getting into this business, bless your hearts, this business is tough in the best of times. So it really is. It's not for sissies at all. This is not, people watch HGTV and go, oh my gosh, it looks so fun and easy. I can open doors and flip on light switches. And, that's not it.
And they get it done in 30 minutes.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So, the best thing, again, just to hop on the new agents or the newer agents, you asked about that earlier. You really need to educate yourself. You need to align yourself with some of the experienced agents in the office, or outside of the office. We're all charged with helping each other. It's part of the NAR Code of Ethics that we help one another learn and keep each other out of trouble. And talk to your brokers and don't wing it. Never lie to your clients. Never, ever, ever, ever just make something up. You don't want to do that. You always want to say, I don't know the answer if you don't know it, but I'll get you the answer, and then start making the phone calls or whatever you need to do. But that will get you in trouble in a pair of seconds. So you don't want to do that.
Excellent. Excellent.
And just keep at it. It takes time. It can take time to build up that clientele.
Danielle, do you have any closing words or comments for Laura?
Well, thank you, Laura, for joining us. You are very calming, and it's great to get your perspective on the market because you've seen a lot over the years. That is invaluable experience that is definitely needed on all sides right now in this market.
And then Laura, if you could please let our listeners know how they can contact you. If an agent wants to contact you and for mentorism or to just contact you and talk about business, how can they get a hold of you?
Sure. Well, you can text me or call me. My cell phone is 517-294-0358. And my office number is 517-548-1700. And if I'm at an appointment, I don't answer my phone, but leave me a message and I will call you back as soon as I'm able to. So, yeah.
And any closing words on the market for 2022 here?
Oh, it's going to be great, but hang on to your hat.
Okay, everybody. Well, we're going to wrap up the show here, and we want to thank our guest, Laura Toms, and of course, my partner, Danielle Boote in Florida. And actually, we'll see everybody next time here on A Smarter Way Home. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I I really appreciate you too also. You guys are a wealth of knowledge and information.
Thanks a lot, Laura.
Thank
Have
you,
a
Laura.
good one. We'll be in touch.
All right. See ya.
Together and make this world better.